because generations to come will remember that Johnny lived and he was remembered by his friends. He touched many lives and we interacted with him directly. And we thought, Jojo Rido, kindly mute your microphone. And we thought that it is important that we honor him in our own words and in our own ways. We are having a session that is not that formal. We just want to have people saying one or two things in honor of Johnny. Agnes Ibarra, you are proposing that we start with our prayer. And who is going to pray for us, Agnes?
In honor of Johnny and the religion he embodied, I see that Abdisamad is here, Abdisamad Ibrahim. Maybe he could lead us in a prayer.
Yes, hello, my good people.
Yes.
For those who do not know me, I am the late Ibrahim Johnny's son. And I saw this post on Twitter and I thought, let me join and see the friends my father touched and those who actually loved him. So now I'll lead you guys in a short prayer. For Johnny, we pray that Allah makes it easy for him in this grave and forgives him for his punishments. We pray that God elevates him to the highest level of Jannah in heaven. We pray that God makes it easy for the people he left behind, his family. And inshallah, we hope to meet him soon in heaven, all of us. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Abdisamad. We were actually trying to get in touch with the family and we appreciate that you've come despite the immediate feel of the loss. I think, are you the one we met some time back with your dad, or the guy was driving him around some point?
Yes, it was me.
Thank you very much for being with us. Yeah. So this is an easy meeting, just having a conversation in an open way. And I request Honorable Chairman Jim Nambaru, because he said he wants to be with us for a very short time to say one or two words. All of you remember that Mr. Jim Nambaru was the governor candidate for Nairobi in 2013, and Johnny was his running mate. So they have interacted that closely. And we appreciate that despite his status in society, he has found time, and being a busy man, he has found time to be with us to celebrate Johnny. Welcome, Mr. Nambaru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fwamba, and all the participants.
Is the meeting still on? It's 8:17.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but Edward, please mute yourself.
So let me say this. Let me say this that it's a very good moment, and I would like to thank Fwamba and his colleagues who really thought about this idea. And it's good because technology is able to bring us together and to honor a gentleman like Johnny, who did a very good thing. So let me start by thanking him for organizing this session. It's a good way of moving forward. I think technology is interesting and fantastic in the sense that it's able to bring us together, notwithstanding that we are not able to see each other physically or meet each other. I think when the right time comes, when all this COVID and everything is over, probably we will interact more. I want to say that Johnny was a good friend of mine, and we did a lot with him. He was my running mate in 2013, and when we were bidding for the governorship and deputy governorship of the county of Nairobi. We did a lot of work. We toured with him throughout of Nairobi. We walked, actually. We shook hands with a lot of people in Nairobi. We met a lot of people. And in the process of meeting all those people, walking through the city, meeting a lot of people, I came to know Johnny as a very humane human being, a very direct person, very understanding, very accommodating, very flexible, and a man who spent a lot of time thinking about the people and what was good for the people. And as such, he was a very, very sincere person. I think it is a pity that we did not win, but I think that is not important. What was important was the work we did. We articulated together with him a great vision for the city of Nairobi, the county of Nairobi. We had a very clear agenda with him. We worked with him. We wanted to bring everybody together in order to build a great county of Nairobi. And Johnny really understood the importance of bringing everybody on board for purposes of building a county which was very, very reflective of the face of this city and this country of Nairobi. And I don't want to talk too much this evening about the vision we had about Nairobi, because we did not have an opportunity to implement the vision. But for you who are listening and who will have an opportunity in the future or currently have an opportunity to do this, I think the whole idea was to create Nairobi as the real capital of the continent of Africa, north of Johannesburg and south of Sahara. And we thought with Johnny that this was a viable goal and objective. And we spent a lot of time talking about it, how we'd be able to achieve it, the challenges along the way, and how we were going to tackle them. In his own wisdom and his own ideas, he even suggested, and we did it. And we even incorporated people like Sonko into our campaign. Sonko at that time was running for the Senate of Nairobi. And we also agreed, and we met with him, and we talked and agreed that we'll work as a team so that we could try to incorporate everyone who really believed in the city. Anyway, we were not able to get an opportunity to serve the people of County of Nairobi. People did not give us enough votes. But nevertheless, we were able to pass the message that a lot of things are possible. Johnny was a great man. He was very lovely. He was loved by a lot of people. He was very articulate. But I think more importantly, he was down to earth. He loved people. He loved to be with the people. He talked a lot with the people. He was loyal to Jubilee Party at that particular time when we were campaigning. Because initially we started with the Jubilee, but when it could not work, we tried another party. It also did not work. But the important thing is that he was always thinking about the people of the county of Nairobi. And I think he also believed in the unity of people, the concept of, a great Kenya, a Kenya which could accommodate all people from all walks of life, from all professions. And I think also even the concept of, dealing with a small nation, because tribes to us were nations. And within nations, there are a lot of differences, and therefore, it was very important for the people who live within or who work together as small nations to be able to find ways of accommodating each other, living with each other, and understanding the diversity, the cultural differences, and being able to appreciate that with all this diversity, you could really create something great out of this diversity. Out of diversity, we could see a lot of virtues and opportunities which could help this nation to move forward. So it's a pity that, he had to lose his life so early. He was a young man who had great future. He was a man who was thinking positively about the nation. And but we must accept God's will. God loved him more than we did. Now, wherever he may be, we want to wish him all the best, and may God, the good Lord, and bless him, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. That's all what I want to say. And then we truly feel sorry about his family, about the people close to him. We know they have lost a great person, but we want to assure them that we are with them, God is with them, and we shall never forget the great work, the great vision, and the great hope Johnny embraced for, or entomized for the people of the Republic of Kenya and the country of Nairobi. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman Honorable Jim Nambaru, and we appreciate for your decision to make Johnny your running mate at that time. That was a ticket of two honest people that I have known and interacted with directly in life. It will have been the best ticket, although at that time we were also running against you people, myself and Kavemba. Based on those ideas that you've mentioned, Johnny maintained his work and his approach towards making the city better. And we worked with him closely with so many other friends. And one thing that has been very consistent that people have been talking about is that aspect of honesty. And Johnny always telling you what he thinks. If he disagrees with you, he tells you directly. And if he has something to encourage you about, he'll make a call and tell you to do one or two things. I think that's a very special character that is very important to emulate. And it's one thing that we can never forget about Johnny. At this point, I'd like to allow everybody to be ready to say one or two words about Johnny. I see Secretary General for Third Way Alliance, Frederick Okango. I can see my friend in Naftali there. Put on your video so that we see Statesman, Ibera, can see Bob Ndubi, and a good number of people from Nairobi Forward, Waziri Mudhoni Ouko, karibu sana, whom we have worked so close with Johnny in trying to make Nairobi a better place under the Nairobi Action Team. So at this point, Okango, I would like to see if you have something to say about Johnny.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm very good. Thank you so much.
Hi, Fred.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to speak to you people today, but very sad that we have lost somebody that we had hope in. I remember the last time we met with him was during the Nairobi Action Team, a meeting that was convened by Famba and Mudhoni. And there's one thing when I was leaving the meeting that he said that, guys, we have this for us. If we lose it ourselves. And in the interest of disclosure, I think we were trying to work around how do we ensure that we start a team that will ensure that there's service delivery in the city. And that is how we started talking and so on and so forth. Then the last time Johnny called me was on Tuesday that week, that he passed on Friday, the Tuesday. And he asked me what I think about this succession. We used to share a lot of notes on political issues. Personally, I knew Johnny in 2007 when I worked for Raila Odinga, and I was a very good supporter, big supporter of Raila Odinga then. So it is a big loss, not only to Johnny's family, but to his friends, the people he interacted with. A man that you could take his word, a man that majority of the people that interacted with him can attest that they believed in him because of his word. He was a very honest man. Sometimes people say we only say good things about the dead, but I can assure you, for me, my experience and interaction with Johnny, I learned two things. The first thing I learned is that he is very honest, and for you to succeed, you must be very honest. The second thing I learned is that he could remember his friends, not only when he needs them, but on even the time when when his friends needed him. So I have nothing much to say. We have lost Johnny, but the vision that he had, the dreams that he had, the work that he was doing, if this team today have decided that we remember him in a special way by saying things and how we met him, how we interact with him, then one thing that we can preserve Johnny's memory is by ensuring that as a team, we do something that forever the people of Kenya will remember Johnny for. Forever, his family will remember him for. I don't know what that thing is, but I believe with this great team, we can always think about something. May his family, his friends, the people he interacted with accept our deepest sympathy for the loss of a great man that we all loved, interacted with, and we would have wished to see work with in our lives. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Wakili Secretary General Frederick Okango. I can see Ruth Ambogo's hand up. I think Ruth will be next. And I suggest that whoever wants to speak, Karibu Wanchari, I can see you there. Whoever wants to speak can just raise up their hands, then we can see how to have them on board. So Ruth, Karibu.
Thank you so much. Okay, allow me to just be on video for a minute, then turn off my light because I'm on the road just coming back to Nairobi so that I don't get into any accident or something like that. So as I was saying, that I was not very much acquainted with Johnny, and I don't think at any point I ever met him. But when I saw that he had passed on and started listening, or rather reading the comments on Nairobi Forward about how people interacted with him, and even just listening to Jim Nambaru, listening to Fred Okango, and just also listening to other people who I've had a chance to talk to ever since he passed on, is inspiration enough for me to say that even though I did not know him, his life that I never got to be a part of is already impacting my life. And for me, I will not even make my submission long. I'll just keep it short and pretty much say that I see that with that inspiration in itself, I want to aspire to live a life that, you know, if God were to ever say, Ruth Ambogo, your life has come to an end, this is the last day you're breathing your last, that people would actually talk about me like that, you know. And I hope that, you know, we get that inspiration in our leadership journey, because I realize that most of us either have aspirations to become leaders in a certain capacity or are already leaders in whatever little way that, in whatever little circles of influence that we have, or have been leaders before, you know. And I hope that we aspire to live the kind of life that he led. When I hear people say that he was an honest man, he kept his word, that makes me want to always be an honest woman who keeps my word, regardless of what position I'm holding or what areas or circles of influence I'm in. I think, as you know, as they say, at the end of one's life, that is when you know whether you lived a life of purpose or a purposeless life. And I think we can all comfortably agree that Johnny indeed lived a life of purpose. And a life of purpose is one that inspires people even beyond your death, and one that gets people who never even knew you, never even got to meet you, to be inspired to the point of saying, I actually want to aspire to live like that particular person who I never got a chance to meet. So my urge to all of us is, let this not just be beautiful tributes that we shall throw around or beautiful tributes that we shall share today, but may we pick one or two lessons from Johnny's life and carry it on in our leadership journeys. And I'm sure Nairobi Forward, I don't know about the rest, but I know I'm gathering from you, Fuamba, that we are not all from Nairobi Forward. There are people who have joined in who are not necessarily from Nairobi Forward. But I'm just saying that, you know, at the end of the day, let this be a lesson to us. Let this be a forever memory of an inspiration of a young man whose life can be emulated and whose life we should all emulate. And I think I would like to, you know, just end my submission at that.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And now I can see several hands up, but I also recognize the joining of Mohammed Hirsi. Mohammed, are you there? Mohamed, karibu.
Asante sana Famba. Yeah, I'm here. Asante sana. Thanks for the invite, and I'll contribute later. Thanks a lot. So it's an honor to be here to celebrate my brother.
Yes. Okay. Now I see several hands up. George Orido.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It is afternoon or evening or whatever it is. But the sun has gone down on our friend Johnny. I don't know whether my camera is on.
No. It's not on.
Put it on.
Okay. Okay, I think it is now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Famba, for bringing this together. It's a sign of leadership from your end. And I thought I should be part of this. And Johnny was a cool guy, you know. I met Johnny almost daily, you know, were the guys who take tea at Java, Mamangina, or Green Bean. And meeting Johnny also in my work as a journalist, especially covering matters to do with the Jamia Mosque. And I have two things to say about Johnny. Johnny, there's a day I was being invited to be chief guest at my church that we're building in Tena. And I had a big target and I had to reach out to my friends to give me money. In a few occasions that I approached some Muslim friends, they informed me that it was haram, that they could not give me money because they're not allowed to give me money to build a church. On one occasion, when I think it was Java, and I was soliciting for support and in the presence of Johnny, and I thought I should just mention it to him as well. So I just you know, in passing, because already I'd known that nothing might come from Johnny being a Muslim. But you know what Johnny did? Johnny gave me a lot of money. I'm not going to tell you about how much it is, but it was more than all that the guys were there, Christian, had given me for the building of the Tena Church that still stands very nice today. I wish I would have had the time to take him to see what he had done to that church. And that tells you that Johnny was a man who did not conform to dictates of systems and dogma. He was a free spirit who broke all barriers. And in my work as a journalist, I remember Johnny giving me scoops. Scoops means exclusive stories on Jamia Mosque. And that makes you as a journalist a very special person when you're the only one who has a story. So mine, and Johnny called me a rider, any day, a rider. And if you belong to another group called Hooters Mafans, Johnny was always making a group fire. You know, without Johnny, I don't know what we're gonna do in that group without Johnny. Anyway, he was a lovely guy. He is a guy who made a big difference in our lives. And I pray that he may be a good ancestor for us.
Thank you, Orido. Now you see, we keep on learning a lot of lessons from Johnny. That's how he interacted with everyone. He did not have boundaries. And in the same spirit, is encouraging that even those of us who are Christians should commit ourselves to work towards bringing all religions together, including building mosques in this country, as a way of promoting the kind of solidarity that Johnny always had with everyone. I can see Bob Ndubi's hand up. Bob?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Johnny has gone home to where we all are going to retire towards someday. So this evening I'm here to mourn a friend, but I'm here also to celebrate his life. But more importantly, to thank God that at some stage in his journey on earth, I had a chance to walk with him. There are so many things you can say about Johnny. so many to speak about only three things. Everybody who's spoken will tell you that Johnny was probably one of the most honest individuals you'll ever meet. And for a politician, for a man who was a running mate for Honorable Mbaru, as he said earlier, that was a very rare thing, to be a politician and honest at the same time. But I also want to talk about Johnny's humility. I cannot tell you how many times I ran into Johnny in places where you expected everybody to be proper and polite. And it didn't matter how far Johnny was, and you could see him, brighten up like a rose in the middle of the day and shout your name from across the street. And anybody who knew Johnny, that's one thing you're going to miss about him. Lastly, I want to remember how willing Johnny was at any time to step in and make sure there was peace. Those of you remember, I think 2017 or just shortly before that, just before the elections, we used to have very heated debates in Nairobi Forward. The number of times I stayed up to try and moderate, and sometimes it could get really, really hot. And it's only Johnny who could call you at some point and say, Chief, this is what so-and-so is trying to do, go slow on this, try this. And I can never think or imagine how soon or who is going to replace Johnny as a source of information on a cross. It didn't matter whether you're discussing business or politics. We surely are going to miss Johnny. Go well, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. We have Millicent Jagero, Geoffrey, Professor Ezra Mogambi, and the Honorable Millicent Mugadi. So you'll come in that order, starting from Millicent Jagero. Millicent?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for organizing this tribute meeting in honor of Ibrahim Hassan, who just left us. It's very sad and painful speaking about
Ibrahim
Yusuf Ahmed. It's very painful and sad speaking about his tribute. To me, he was a personal friend. I met him in 2007 when he had organized for an aspirants forum. And I remember after giving my remarks, he had brought all the aspirants in Isili Airbase and Isili North together, the councillors, by then they were called the councillors, to come and give their manifestos. And I remember when I was giving my remarks, he called me aside and asked for my number. In the evening, he called me and we went for dinner at Safari Park, and he told me that you have so much potential in you that I wouldn't want to see your life just go astray like that. I would like to mold you. And he asked me what I wanted to do, and I told him that I wanted to enroll for French classes. He wrote a check there and he gave me to take it to the Alliance, and I did that. And after that, he started mentoring me in politics. I campaigned for him in 2007. I campaigned for him again in 2013. And he will tell me that I'm a fake Luo because I never supported Raila, but I supported him. So every time he will tell me that wewe sio Mjaluo, you know very well that I'm called Johnny Onyango. But wewe, hiyo jina yako, it's betraying you. Wewe sio Mjaluo. You cannot be a Luo and you're not supporting Baba. And we will really argue on that angle. But we continue engaging. We engaged for so long, even when he was vying for the deputy governor to Jim Nambaru. We still campaigned for him. The last election, 2017, when he vied under Wiper Party, we still campaigned for him. And it is through those campaigns, through those community works that has got me where I am today as a nominated MCA. And when I got nominated by the Jubilee Party, he said that I knew that you are never for us. You are always on the government side. And he mentored me up to this stage that I am in life. He was a united person. He would bring people together. He would assist. He never had any discriminations, whether you are Muslim, whether you are a Christian. He came to churches. He was even told that he's a fake Muslim because they believe that you're not supposed to campaign in churches, but he used to come, he would contribute in churches towards community works, towards the youth groups. He'll ensure that he started something for the youth. And if you come to Kamkunji, you'll still find that some groups, still benefited from the income generating activities that he initiated for them during that time. And actually, he's the one who would encourage the young people to start up businesses so that they can mentor their lives in the future. It's so sad to say goodbye to him. It's very sad and it's very painful. And I pray that to us who have remained, we may follow his steps of not being discriminatory, of not being against uniting people. We should follow his steps, and if we can do something in honor of him apart from this tribute that will leave a legacy to this group and to him, it will be of much honor to him. May his soul rest in peace and may the perpetual light shine upon him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Millicent. Welcome, Geoffrey.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thanks, Fuamba and the group for organizing this. And it's quite sad that we lost Johnny. He was a good guy. And for me, as you know, Fuamba, I think we might have met Johnny around the same time. I met Johnny, I think it was towards the end of 2006. I think we were the hustlers in town then. We were young boys who had graduated like under 3 or 4 years earlier. So we were looking for opportunities after we danced to Yote Awezekana Bila Moja as university students. 2007, we were young aspirants. So Johnny was like our senior then. And of course, he was not like in our network, but we could always meet him in the evening just to catch up. So I only came to know him much deeper in 2007 when he contested for the Kamukunji seat. And actually, I think I was in company of Donald Manyara. Manyara, you were driving your white Land Rover then, and we had gone to campaign for Mudomobagi. I think it's when we met Johnny on the ground zero with his white Toyota Land Cruiser, with Piero Rumumba. We even had a joint campaign. It was very nice. And then from there, I think we clicked. We could always meet. Later on, Java, Mamangina. Then later came Dreambin. But then, of course, I left Nairobi, but we kept in touch. Johnny was a good guy, very much articulate, sharp, and was always very much informed. Before the word deep state came to be famous, we always joked that he was deep state because he always had all the secrets. Anyway, so sad that we lost him. And yeah, I think we have so many Johnnies among us. We just need to appreciate ourselves and encourage ourselves, as our little sister Mbogo said, and just to move forward, realize our potential, push each other. Don't be selfish, be generous as Johnny. For those of us who have been networking for some time, we know how we do things. So let's continue this way. And for the youngsters upcoming, I think we can only encourage you to emulate Johnny. So I don't want to repeat what has been said. So thanks so much for organizing this, and we'll keep talking, and the memory of Johnny lives on, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff Nyamboga. Surely, as Mheshimiwa Mbaru said, technology has made us to be able to be in touch and honor Johnny together, despite the fact that you are very far in Netherlands. Thank you very much for being on board. Professor Hezron Mogambi, karibu.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we are hearing.
Yeah. I've known Johnny for quite a while right now, many years, culminating in what Fuamba cobbled together, otherwise known as the Nairobi Action Team, where we had meetings discussing Nairobi issues alongside other NF people, Mheshimiwa Janet, Waziri Janet, Brian, Jack and the rest, Fred Okang. And during all this time, I have known Johnny to be a very humble and friendly person. As we know, good people die every day. That's a fact of life. Yet we know that not all of them, affirm for us the goodness in humanity and leadership the way Ibrahim Johnny did. He just passed away last week, but he has left a real legacy of positive experiences for me, and I think for everyone here. That's why we are talking the way we are talking. For those who took time to know him, and Johnny was not very difficult to work with. I mean, you'll meet him for the first time and you're already clicking and you're already working, because he was very free, down to earth, and that is how I knew him. And immediately we started, exchanging notes, talking on phone, messages here and there about this political development, about this, issue and the rest. And he was very, very rich, I want to say. And I have met a cross-section of people from all types of cultures. And he's one, unique guy that you just meet and you switch on and you work as if you've known each other for a long, long while. So Ibrahim Johnny, loved people, and he was willing to do the hard work it takes actually to build relationships, and he built these relationships intentionally, like he did with me, wider, not only at individual level, at even community level, because sometimes we will talk about so many issues, which are community based, and he will, ask me about what ideas to generate for certain community projects and how we, how to think about it. And so I think he was a man, a cool man, a warm-hearted person who always thought about other people than even himself. And I think this is the kind of person we will want to emulate because of his humility, his kindness, respect, and the compassion, invaluable insight to remain as part of his legacy. Apart, of course, from being visionary, Honorable Mbaru has just said about the vision they had, and being impactful, to change many people in many ways. So he's a person I'll remember for long, and he's a person I'll pray that he rests well. Rest well, Johnny, my brother, until we meet again. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Mheshimiwa Millicent Mugadi, then Onchari Oyeyo, then Naftali.
Good evening, people. Thank you very much. My condolences to the family of Johnny. I know him as Johnny. And to me, I can say he was a very good friend. I met Johnny some times back, and I think we worked with him through the campaign where he was working with Jim Nambaru. We became very close. And I can say he was a very social person, had a very good sense of humor, and he was always happy. For me, it's just to thank him for mentoring me. He was always advising me on how to do my political moves from day one, and he just believed in me. And we met in town. We met became very good friends. And for me, Johnny was like a brother.
Nish, we are losing you.
Losing him has pained me, and I will miss him very much. There was no day I would not meet Johnny at Dream Beam or Java.
Mheshimiwa, your network is not that good. Please adjust a little bit. Okay, Mheshimiwa seems to have lost her network. So, Onchari, I think she'll come later again.
Pwamba, I'm here. Can I finish?
Oh, Mheshimiwa maliza, sawa. Okay.
Okay, I just want to say he was a good person. For me, he was a light to strangers, to people that didn't know him, and to the family, we are very sorry. And if there is anything you need, just know that Johnny had few good friends, but he was a friend to everybody. Rest in peace, Johnny. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Millicent Mugadi. We will all miss Johnny. Karibu Onchari. Can see Patrick Okonya, Chairman. Karibu. Onchari, Wayeyo, then Naftali.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Bononchari. Yeah, thank you so much, NC and the rest of the team for making this happen. And it's a very sad moment that within a short time we've lost a great man. And we're here telling ourselves of how great he was. I hope we had a chance to always talk to him and tell him how inspiring he was as a human being and as a citizen. I don't want to repeat what has been said, but then death is a path, we all must take. I'm sure those of you have been able to go through the Lord of the Rings in the Return of the King. We're told the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. So where he's gone is of course where we are all headed. We must end there. The question is, how do we die? At 54, he was a very young person, obviously. But the question is, what's the life in the time you spend here? How many lives do you touch? What difference do you make? What's the legacy? So all the beautiful things you guys have talked about, of course, things we're able to observe. We met the man. And the only thing I can mention is this. You remember the words of Dr. Seuss? A person is a person no matter how small. Ibrahim is one man who could give you his time, regardless of your standing in society. If you met him in Java, in the midst of a very busy conversation, he could take his time, move aside, talk to you, in his very charming and warm voice, pat you on the back. If you wanted fare, he'd give you. And then he goes back and continues with his conversation. It was not too big for anybody. I've had people like Chekai who came to the group and confessed how he was given $2,000, 200,000 Kenya shillings to go and start a business, which of course was killed by the coronavirus. The number of people who can give you that kind of help in Nairobi who are not politicians, who are not interested in a political seat, cannot, finish my 5 fingers on my right hand. It's a very small number. That is someone who is willing to help, not because he has, but because he knows people out there need to be assisted. The best way to remember this man, the very best way we can remember Ahmed, is to emulate his example. Nairobi Forward is full of guys, the who's who in Nairobi. We in some positions, we hold key positions in some places, and yet people like Johnny, who didn't have any recognizable position, could actually go ahead and help. So the best way to remember him is to emulate his character. If there is someone somewhere in need of help, go ahead and help. And there is something I'd like to say here. We are fond of making serious contributions for people when they're in problems. It's a serious hypocritical display of generosity and kindness. How about we learn to reach out to people when they're here, talking to us, breathing? That is the kind of person Ahmed was. If he met a Chekai Musa somewhere suffering and in need of help, it'd help him. So that is the culture I think I want us to put aside. Let's go ahead. Actually, the open-handedness of Muslims we always hear about was lived, was manifested practically by Ahmed's life. Or to, we always say kwamba Waislamu wako na ile undugu, they assist one another and all that. This guy extended it beyond Waislamu. So we have a challenge. We have to go ahead and emulate his example. That is the best way we can remember him. Obviously, NC and a few others were able to attend his funeral at Langata Cemetery. I was there. It was that breaking to see a vibrant, energetic, and warm man reduced to a mound of earth. Just a very small, mound of earth, gone forever. It was heartbreaking. And obviously, Islam doesn't make it any easier because the man died at around 8 a.m. By noon, he was gone, buried. It was heartbreaking. So we have a duty to go ahead and extend his legacy beyond Langata. There is so much about the character of the man that we can build on. And I think it will go a long way in sending a message that Nairobi Forward is not just a team of bloggers, people can just share experiences. It's a group of leaders who can come up with an initiative like this one here that we can build on so that we can inspire more people so that they can go out there and touch lives. At the end of the day, like I've said, this life is not guaranteed. We've seen what has happened over the last few days. Today, we're talking here, smiling and breathing and, sharing all those nasties. Then the next moment, so and so is gone. So let's be able to reach out while we're here. Ahmed is a man who had values we needed, a man of the character, the nation deserves so much, but he's gone. He's gone. He was a champion against disinformation. He could always come in and supply the right information. He hated tribalists, the biggest problem we have as a nation. Anytime someone came out defending someone because of tribe, you could say that is nonsense. Without fear, he had that. So that is so much that we can build on. So I'd like us to move beyond this conversation and come up with a way that, I'm sure NC has talked about this, I'm sure you've talked about this, so that we can have a lasting way of remembering this great man. He is actually among the very few people, I think, who qualify to be regarded as citizens. There's a classification of people. We have, in a society, we have idiots, tribalists, and then citizens. Zoni had qualified to be a citizen. Most of us are tribalists, others are idiots. This guy was a citizen. He understood what it meant to be a Kenyan and a citizen. He was able to think beyond his religion, he was able to think beyond his tribe. He was a Kenyan and a patriot. I'm glad I was able to know him. Johnny is one of the few people who went to my inbox and told me that after Sonko's exit, these guys who have come in are going to come for you because they fear that you're not going to be on their side. And of course, over the next few days, I was able to see that. You always had the right information. So we need more Johnnies out there. We need to shed off all those pretentious, retrogressive, habits some of us have so that we learn from his example. At the end of the day, we're here, if there's a helping hand needed somewhere, let's do it now. Let's do it now. And you don't have to help. Waswahili wanasema kutoa si utajiri, ni moyo. So I don't want to say much. At some point, I do get emotional when I remember this gentleman. There's so much we shared. And every single time he'd come to my inbox and they advise me. So when I think that he's gone, I get emotional and I'd like to stop there. Thanks a lot. And Fomba, thank you so much for organizing this forum. At least it's allowed us to, speak up and get off some of the pressure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wanchari. Thank you very much. And indeed, it's true that Johnny was a person who worked with everyone beyond tribe. Sometimes whenever there was this issue of the so-called Luya unity, he'll come and say that he's an assimilated Isuha. He'll say that he's a Luya. So he made every situation cool, even when there was tension. He was a person who used to unite people whenever there's a conflict. So Naftali, then Mundia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naftali Ambetsa. I also belong to Nairobi Forward. And I'd just like to thank the organizers of today's session, Mr. Fwamba and the group. Thank you very much for giving us this time to come together and pay tribute to our brother, Johnny, who left us. I met Johnny, the first time I encountered him was around 2007. That time I was a young Turk, not really a young Turk. I was hardly out of, I was a political rookie, for lack of a better word. That time were quite a few of us had dared to venture out and try out in the political field that was full of the pre-second liberation heroes. So those of us who are trying to make a name for ourselves were really squeezed in between. And Johnny, Brian Weke, Kina Fwamba, so many of us who came up through because at that time, Ford Kenya and PNU, honestly, were the two groups that had really come strong in regards to organizing platforms for young people to come and participate in the political space of Kenya at that time. PNU had a very strong youth league, and Ford Kenya had, I think, the strongest youth league. I was in the Ford Kenya league. So I encountered Johnny, the first time I encountered him was around 2007. And at that time, I think he was running for Kamkunji seat in 2007. Fwamba, you can nod if I'm right. And at that time, I think Brian Weke was also running for the same, and there was Simon Bogwa, and then there was the current MP. And at that time, I think Johnny was running against, there were three candidates of Somali origin. And I happened to, because I originally come from Eastlands, and I usually frequent this place called Shaurimoyo, Bama. I usually have my boys there, the car wash, at the shoe shiners, and Gumzo Mtaani. I use it to weigh, to just get a grasp of what's going on in the grassroots. So I asked some of the car wash guys, who do you think is strong in this area? And at that time they said, kuna jamaa hapa, they named the aspirants. They said one guy had just left the UN, he had a lot of money. The other one said he was being supported by the clans. But then they said, kuna huyu jamaa anaitwa Johnny mazee hata amekuwa hapa. They were calling him Johnny Otieno. He had some name. And he cut across ranks. And the conversation between the young people at the car wash was that, huwezi jua Johnny kama ni Msomali, ama Johnny ni Mkikuyu, ama Johnny ni tribe gani. Johnny is one of those guys you'd say a Nairobian. When people say they're Nairobians, Johnny was a Nairobian to perfection. I would describe Johnny as having been slick in the sense of SLIK, whereby S stands for service. Johnny gave service to the city. Johnny gave service to people. Johnny gave service to the people who had encounters with him. We've had Jim Nambaru speak very fondly about their political journey. You've had Millicent Jagero, who also had very kind words to say about Johnny and the service. We've had people who are talking about how Johnny would even contribute amounts for building churches, yet he was a Muslim. Johnny was loyal. Johnny was loyal to the cause. Johnny was loyal to his friend. Jimna has emphasized that, and I will not belabor the point. Johnny had integrity. Johnny had integrity. Everyone, including Fred Okango, Onchari has said the same. I think even the other speakers talk about Johnny's integrity. He was one guy who was honest enough. And even during our heated debates on Nairobi Forward, Johnny would always inbox you if he sees you're veering off and he sees you're a guy who would save himself from embarrassment. Quite honestly, personally, Johnny inboxed me, I think twice, because at some point I had some political hypotheses which were actually playing out to become true. And I was really hyping it up and I was rubbing some shoulders not very well. Johnny inboxed me when it became very heated. Last one is knowledge. Johnny knew what he was talking about. Actually, we used to say, Johnny is never wrong. If you want to counter check facts there, I know if Chekai was there, if Chekai is online, he would, he'd pat himself, he'd blow his own horn and say, there are two people in Nairobi Forward. I will not include NC, Governor Fwamba, because for reasons best known to me, I will not include, but there are people who know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Fred Okango too, there are people who know what's going to happen, and they somehow have a grasp and a grip of the political affairs and the political psyche of Nairobians and the political players. So they would throw in something and just to jog our thinking, or sometimes they would even share indirectly. You'd have to really read between the lines to know that, hey, by the way, there's something cooking and something is coming up. We used to say, Johnny had the knowledge. Johnny always knew. Yeah, alijua, and he was never wrong. So in conclusion, I just like to say I was really honored. I thank God to have given me the opportunity to interact with Johnny Ibrahim more online, and just to share in the political discourse that normally we usually have at Nairobi Forward, and pray to God that we have more people who would take up and who would step up in Johnny's shoes and just try and see how we can move Nairobi forward from being a political platform or the space that it is, and take it to the next level and try and see if we can influence. I know we are already influencing policy and other things in our own respective ways, but there's so much more. Even Johnny used to say, there's so much more that Nairobi Forward is capable of. So thank you very much. May the Almighty God rest Johnny's soul in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Naftali. Let us try as much as possible to summarize what we say, because time is moving fast. Although this is Johnny's time, so we have to say all that we think about him. There are those who are saying that people celebrate others when they die. But I said, we are not celebrating Johnny because he has died. We have already celebrated him. And all those things that most of you people are saying are things we have shared and agreed that actually Johnny is an honest person, down to earth, and someone who is very accommodating and very generous. So let me have Mundia, Maranga Douglas, and Chairman Patrick Okonya in that order. From Mundia, please.
Ni aje, habari zenu? Mara ya kwanza nilimit Johnny ilikuwa 2011 during by election yake ya Kamu, and that time nilikuwa nimeaseniwa sound ya kwenda kuzunguka na Johnny. The friendship grew from there until hizi time zote. Three things that I remember Johnny with. Johnny was honest. Kuwa na emotions, atakwambia baba wacha emotion kwa siasa, atakuadvise. And number two, Johnny, he was like a big brother to me. After 2013 K1 losing Mathare, Johnny alinichukua akanionyesha biz hapa Tao ya kusupply some things to some hotels, and Johnny will connect me to few hotels here and there. He empowered me, both advice, both like a big brother, place unaenda wrong anakwambia hapa unaenda wrong. And Johnny used to call me kijana mama, hawezi potea wewe, tutakushika mkono. And before the sad news came, nilikuwa nabonga na Johnny that day, I think a previous day, and I was planning an event on 24th, and Johnny promised, Sam wewe tumetoka mbali, wewe kijana mama nitakubeba na tuende pamoja, because I was going to pay some dowry. And that is a friendship I had with Johnny. Johnny was a true man, a true brother, that no any time you pass through town na kulenge ama pandishe kioo juu, atakushautia na utaenda muongee, you have tea with him. And truly the value of Johnny that has iko ndani ya roho yangu, whatever he said, I will live to respect Johnny for his memory, because no matter what we do, ile behavior zenye alikuwa anaja kuinstall kwa kila mtu, that is what you can honor him by doing. Thank you, and Fomba, thanks for organizing such forum and for your input in Nairobi. Hata kama mtu hata hii recognize kenye unafanya, God anaona kenye unajua, kenye unafanya, na kila mtu na God atawa bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mundia. Thank you very much. Douglas, then Chairman Kokonya.
Hello.
Yes, Douglas.
My name is Douglas Ondieki, Maranga. You guys are used to Maranga. I met him in 2018. I was with Dad in town. Then we talked, and he was like, "Is this Dagi?" Then I told him, "Yes." "Oh, you are nice here, but once you're on man, you become someone else." I was like, "No, I'm a nice guy, you know." So I tried to be nice to him. Then after 2 days, he gave me a call. "Dagi, how are you?" Then I told him, "I'm okay. What are you doing? Can we do coffee?" Said yes. Then we met in town. We shared so many things. So after, I think, three or 5 months later, then I was doing my master's by then. So I was almost dropping out, but he gave me some 20,000 as his contribution to my school fees. That thing I will not forget it. That's why I keep on telling you guys. Ibrahim and Professor Esron Mugambi, they paid my school fees when I was almost dropping out. And then another thing, you can meet him in town, then you are somewhere doing your things, then it's like, "Dagi, uko wapi bana? Hiyo ni nini?" Ama uko maybe sasa ama sometimes umepotea. And then it's like, Dagi pass, a nice guy in our aspect, because you cannot expect John maybe to forget about you, or maybe sometimes you are struggling. Is among, I think it was among the few people who you can call anytime, support you. And maybe if you want something, or maybe you have your business, if you are looking for advice, he'll be there for you, support you, and see that you are your business is growing. Like, for example, my tax business, he used to support me, right? I can tell him I want the Somali guys. If I can get to 5, 10, I'll be okay. Biashara utapata. I remember sometimes back in 2019, he gave me I told him, "This woman looks nice." Then he started saying, make her pregnant. So he liked those things. Thank you so much, Famba.
Oh, Douglas, thanks a lot. Part to Kokonya, Chairman. Kokonya.
Thank you, NC and team, Nairobi Forward, for giving this opportunity to celebrate our brother. And this celebration of our brother Ibrahim Ahmed Johnny, it comes at a time when we look back and we remember the days when some of us came to Nairobi more than 25 years ago. And some of the few people we will meet around as either business people, activists. One of the notable people you'll pick out will be Johnny. For me, Johnny was a friend who was straightforward, a friend who believed in friendship, a friend who was truthful. Johnny was a gentleman who stood by what he said. I have come to learn much more about Johnny, particularly in his way of doing business, in his way of addressing issues. And on Nairobi Forward, besides other platforms, Johnny was like the voice of reason for many, in many respects and in many aspects. Because Johnny will always, one, provide information, will also debunk any false information. Johnny will always come out to say things as they were. And of course, with a quick combination of people like Fred, the SG, they will always take the conversation where it's supposed to be heading to. But I want to quickly add that with the support and the moderation of our brother NC Fuamba, Nairobi Forward has been made not just as a social media platform, but Nairobi Forward has
We lost you, Kokonya. Is your network having a problem? Okay. It seems we have lost Kokonya. Ama mnamsikia?
No, I think we can't hear him.
We can't hear him. So I can
Radio
see
silence from his end.
Okay. I can see people like Just Cry here. I can see Jack Owino. The latest, the youngest or the newest doctor in town, PhD, Dr. Donald Manyala. I saw Jeff Nyaboga mentioning something about your interaction with Johnny. Dr. Manyala, do you have something to say? I saw Shitemi's hand up. Shitemi, are you there? Okay. Waziri Mudhoni Wauko, are you there? Chekai?
Yes, Fuamba, I am here.
Yes, Waziri. Let us hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Fuamba, can you hear me?
And talk.
Yes, we can hear you, Waziri. Maybe she has
I want to.
Okay.
I want to apologize firsthand. I'm having struggles with my internet. I think there's some bits of rains here, so I'm not even going to put on my video. But I just want to feel so sad about the demise of Johnny. I didn't know Johnny for a very long time because I think I just got to know him at about 2017 and 2018. But I think we got closer in our interactions after I became CEC for education. And I think when I exited and the circumstances under which I exited, I think one of the things that Johnny did was to reach out to me. And I had not known him for a very long time. In terms of we hadn't had very what I would call intimate interactions with him. But that time he gave me a call and we sat down. And I will not forget that he really had very strong words in terms of just pull off everything, including the media, and just try and find myself. And he assured me that, I know, Janet, you're not wrong. I can see, I can listen to you, I can hear you, but I know with Johnny, he would call, every other time I probably wanted to say something, I would call him and I tell him, hi, this, I'm thinking about this, and he would really come in handy, quite sober, very forthright, and, with very practical, not very academic, sorts of advice. So really, I got very fond of that man. You'd just do a phone call and tell him, hi, Johnny, Nairobi, and Ivy, what would you think that we do? And I think when Fwamba, we were convening as an action team, even before things went the way they did, alongside other friends of ours, that we do not think that Nairobi is moving in the right direction. And that is where we remember we had the first press conference that we were telling the president that really you need to step in now and do something for Nairobi, because we just can't be driving like this into the bush and so on. So I think from that same henceforth, we've been quite close with Johnny, cross-checking, waziri vitu zimeenda hivi, unasikiaje, kunaenda hivi. So for me, that morning when I received a call telling me that waziri umeona Johnny ametuacha, I was like, what do you mean? It was for me, it was so sudden, it was so short, it was so shocking, and it is the least of people that I would have expected that they would leave us. But then, you quickly accept the will of God. And for me, I think as Nairobi Forward, and even as Nairobians, we've really lost someone that you'd really look up to. He was so resourceful.
Okay, thank you, Waziri.
He was so honest. Johnny was he was just what you see. And then also Johnny, the fact that even if he was, I up to now, I don't even know what tribe.
Thank you, Waziri. We've got you, and we appreciate your input and your eulogy of Johnny. Now, I can see people like Rachel Mwikali, Ruth Mumbi, can see Mheshimiwa Martin Andati, can see Mr. John Maina, and Albert Musasi all the way from the US. Since you people have not raised your hands, is there any of you who has something to say? Mark Ombima, I see you there. Chekai.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Fwamba, for the opportunity. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, very well.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Fwamba, for the opportunity. Actually, I met Johnny in the company of Fwamba at Beams restaurant near City Hall. It was the first time I was meeting Johnny. We were having a meeting in Fwamba, but he recognized me by saying, hey, Mark, when you unapinga BBI? And I was like, no, Johnny, I'm loyal to BBI. So that was the first time I interacted with him. It was in 2019. Then thereafter, we became close to Johnny. He would even send me lunch. You just say, Johnny, kijana wako ako njaa, and you will see an M-Pesa coming in immediately. You didn't need to explain or say I'm who and who. So he was a good person. And in honor of Johnny, Nairobi Forward has very young, intelligent, learned, and very focused individuals. Fwamba has been very close to them. He has mentored many. And it will be a great honor in Johnny if you bring in his son Fwamba as an elder. You mentor the son of Johnny through the streets. Yeah, he should follow in the footsteps of his dad. And it will be good. In honor of Johnny, we say rest in peace, but let us carry on his legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I can see we have Ngubesi, Douglas Nyairo around. So at this moment, I'd like to get to Mohamed Hersi to say one or two things about Johnny. Then we will be moving towards closing. Is Mohammed there? Okay. Douglas.
Okay, thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor, for this opportunity, for doing this to this great man. I think I met Johnny quite some time back, all the way from Mamangina. I think Jojo Rido is here and many other team. It's been a great time knowing Johnny for all this time. But I think we became so much closer, especially when we started doing these things for Nairobi Action Team, Nairobi Forward. Johnny has been very instrumental, a very straightforward guy, was very candid. When people feared to say some things, Johnny will say it the way it is. I think Waziri has mentioned a bit about Johnny's stand on several issues. Today we have lost a great person. It's a big shock to this nation. And this was well deserved, Fwamba, for doing all this for this great person. I think also had an issue on the day, I think Fwamba, when you were going to the cemetery and all that, but we have respected the culture of our brothers, the Muslim brothers. But I think this is good. And also moving forward, I think the conversation has started up to what should we do in remembrance of this great person. And I support that we come up with initiatives. I think on the generosity part and the honesty about Johnny, I think all the time we used to take coffee with him. I will drive from Kitengela coming to Nairobi. I will reach there, where George Nengo and others. Johnny will be there stepping in, discussing all the policies. A free-hearted person, a great man indeed we have lost. So I want to send my condolences to his family. At least I had the opportunity to meet his son. I think during the time, Kina Kokonya here, Kina Fwamba, and many other big team here, Kinonchari and others. Our condolences to the family. But we will stand with the family. I think it's also important what Mark has said, that we also hold the hand of the gentleman, the son who is there. And also we take an opportunity to go further and look up to each other the way Johnny looked up to many of us on this platform. If you hear what people are saying about is that Johnny was very generous. He will give out vijana wake kwa vile wanasema, and all those kind of people. I interact with Johnny, and I know I've lost a dear friend, and thank you all for this great opportunity you have offered this evening. Asante, Governor. God bless you.
Thank you, Douglas. We'll have Abdisamad on board. That was a very good proposal from Mark Ombima, and thank you for enforcing that or reiterating that proposal. Kamodo, I think will be the last one, unless if Mohamed Hersi is still online. He can finalize, and then Agnes Ibarra will say something. Then we'll close with a prayer. I don't know if we have another Muslim brother or sister to pray for us in respect to Johnny's religion. The closing prayer. If not, then Abdisamad will still close for us. So, Kamodo. Kamodo, we can't hear you. You had some proposals. Can we hear you?
Greetings everyone. Habari yenyu wote. On behalf of community ya Mudhurwa, nafikiria ilikuwa ni wakati mzuri Johnny, wakati tuliishi tembea kijijini mwetu. Wakati mwingi tunashikana naye, tunahusikana naye kwa vitu mingi, online, offline. Tulimfurahia sana na nafikiria itakuwa jambo nzuri.
I'm speaking next, so you're going to reduce the bit.
Itakuwa wakati mzuri kama tungemcommemorate maisha yake kwa niaba ya watu wengi wenye wangetaka kumfurahia, kama tungechukua initiative ya kupanda miti ambao nilikuwa najaribu kupropose. We have like 54 trees commemorating his years in this earth, of which we will get business community wenye wangetaka pia kuplant tree yao in his memory. Pia tungekuwa na the other groups kama activists, other traders, watu wengi, Muslim community, coming all these people together, each tree signifying what kind of friends he had. So initially, I was thinking about this, and I think maybe members in the group will support the idea. I was proposing it to be on Friday after Muslim prayers, this Friday on 16th, whether it is possible. That also will also make us have a lasting memory of him, because you see, with planting a tree in 10 years, 15 years to come, people will be saying this tree was planted because there was a great person who maybe signified a lot of things to other people and supported communities. So my idea ilikuwa ni kama ingekubalika na members wako hapa to brainstorm around that. Tunafanya activity na Kamkunji Environment Green Group ambao tulikuwa tunashindana contest ya open space ambayo iko chini ya UN Habitat. So they are doing something around that park. Maybe we can engage them because we are in good terms. They can allow us, of which they are also trying to plant more trees. So I think this, if it is possible with members, inaweza kuwa nzuri. Kiongozi kwamba kwa asante.
Thank you very much, Kamodo. Let us hear from Johnny Maina, another of Johnny's friends, to give his tribute. Then Agnes Ibarra will come in.
Well, the chair, let me thank you for organizing this meeting. Mine is quite short. It's a very short tribute because I've known Johnny for quite some time. We were both members of the Orange Democratic Movement for quite some time. And I remember Johnny as a very kind, generous, humble, and a person full of humor. Most of you know how humorous Johnny used to be. Most of you who used to have coffee or tea with us at Dream Bean, anytime Johnny came over there, we surrounded him because we know there'll be a lot of laughs in the evening. As I said, Johnny is an old friend since we were colleagues in the party. And I can remember Johnny when he was campaigning for the Kamkunji. The party sent us to go and campaign for him in Kamkunji. And one of the humorous days was when he came with a camel, riding on a camel to, most of you remember that, to the campaign rally. That's one of the vivid moments that we can remember Johnny about. And we sat with him countless of times having tea and coffee in town, talking about politics, and he's always injecting humor in politics or in any discussion we had. I think our last bet with Johnny was on the US elections. He found Mr. Mayoyo and I discussing about US politics during the Biden-Trump campaigns. And Mayoyo was very much for supporting Mr. Trump. And I bet with Mayoyo that whoever wins, whether Trump or Biden, who I was supporting, whoever loses will buy a cup of coffee. Johnny came and joined us. And of course, Johnny joined Mayoyo in saying that Trump is going to win. So to cut the story short, of course, that Trump lost. So unfortunately, Johnny is not there with us today, but I'm sure Mayoyo will buy 2 cups of coffee because I won the bet. Otherwise, we're really going to miss Johnny and his humor. And we hope we'll be having this memorial to pay tributes annually, every year, so that we can keep on remembering Johnny and the good things he did for the community, and especially for our political party. He was very vibrant and supportive of our party leader, Honorable Raila Odinga. Thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you very much, John Maina, for that tribute. Of course, I am very much aware of those Dream Bean stories. Yeah. Douglas, you are raising up your hand. You wanted to say something again? Douglas? Douglas Maranga. Ondieki. Okay, Chairman Kokonya, you lost your network, so just to finalize what you are telling us, so that we close within 4 or 5 minutes to come, please.
Thank you, Kiongozi Governor Fwambe Nzifamba. I got cut off my communication, but I'm back to just say that Johnny was a great man. He was a member of parliament who never set foot in parliament as an elected MP, but he led the people of not only Kamkunji, but Nairobi. He was also a torch bearer for Kenyans. Many Kenyans have looked up to Johnny. As you heard in many tributes given by friends and colleagues across board, you realize that Johnny had an influence on the lives of both the young, the old, ladies and gentlemen, and even leaders across the political divide in this country. And that's a clear demonstration that indeed Johnny was an icon. And it's just a worthy cause that we celebrate him. And we put his family in prayers. And we keep holding their hands up to when they'll be able to walk and also hold the hands of others. Thank you once again, NC, for Governor NC, for bringing us together once again. And thank you to Nairobi Forward team and Kenyans in general as we celebrate the life and times of our brother, Johnny. And God bless you. Great night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Agnes, unless if there's someone who has something to say, Agnes, you can come in and say 1 or 2 things, then we have, you invite someone to pray. Oh, I see Musasia, Albert Musasia, all the way from Texas. And these tributes will not have been complete without your input. So Musasia, say something.
Okay.
Is it my time, Mr. Fumba?
Yes, Musasia, it's you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just want to appreciate everybody who is online right now, and for Fumba and the Nairobi Forward team for putting together this great moment, at least to pay tribute to our brother Johnny. Nairobi Forward has provided a very good platform to interact with a lot of people. And I've come to know and network with a lot of you guys, and it's just a great moment that we create. We normally have to share ideas and discuss several things, you know, in matters politics, and you guys have a melting pot of ideologies and ideas, and how we need to move forward. And so during this moment that I met Johnny, and through the different interactions through the forum, I've come to know him as someone who is extremely brilliant and someone who also is has a great heart. And I think that his contribution on the forum were very much precise and on point. And I've talked to him even private side chats, and he's a down-to-earth person. And I think that the life that he lived is something that, as many people have shared, is worth emulating. Is somebody who never knew tribeless person, as I shared before. Somebody who treated everybody with mutual respect. You know, somebody who loved everybody, and I think that that life should be embodied by everybody. I think that that's something that I look forward to say that he has left a legacy that we all should look up to and say that that's how we need to live as Kenyans together and try to understand each other even when we differ politically, because sometimes politics can be very divisive. And in the midst of that, all that, Johnny was somebody who's the way he lived his life, the way he took his politics, something that you would not pick something to you know, fight him back or even have a personal argument with him. And I think that's something that I've looked, you know, during his interaction on For Nairobi Forward. That's the reason why we are here. I've seen people about 50 or even 70, 90 people, and I'm sure there are other people who can even make it, who can talk a lot about Johnny. And even though I have never met him in person, but our interactions is something that has left a mark on my life, and I think that many others. And I think that his legacy will live on. So thank you so much, Famba, and everybody who was really actually spared a moment to share the experiences about Johnny, and it's something that I look forward. I'm proud to be part of this excellent group, and I think that we lost a great guy, and I hope that his family will find peace, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Musasia. Shitemi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry for a poor network. I'll be very brief. Every other time he would call himself. I used to smile. Maybe it's because I'm one of them. Two things. One, I think there's a way in which you'd put info across, whether it was Intel or something, that was very, very humbling. He wouldn't want to put it over over you or put you down or anything. I think I found that very, very instructive in how he was as a human being. The second thing, he was a gentleman. There is some civility that he'd put across each and every point, including when he differs with you, that was very humbling and very disarming. So, and if it's anything that we should learn from, I think, him and move forward with it, it should be just how we tolerate each other and remember that we're all human beings despite our political differences and other social status. Thank you. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Shitemi. Let's have someone raised his hands. Martin Kangara, what was his name?
What of Ibarra, Agnes?
No, Kingara. Where is before Agnes? There was Kingara.
Oh, Pole Fwamba. I just clicked, by mistake, but I just want to send my sincere condolences to the family and just tell them, we are much together with them, despite, all the hard times everyone is going. I sincerely, send my heartfelt thoughts to the family.
Thank you, Martin. Okay, so Agnes, I'm on board.
All right, okay. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much, Fwamba, for according me the chance to speak on this noble event. And maybe first of all, before I proceed, I'd like maybe to just communicate my condolences to Abdi Samad as a representative of Johnny's family. Johnny loved his family, and maybe Abdi Samad, what I'd start by saying that your father spoke of you very fondly. And there's something that you said when we started off, that this could be a reflection of the people that loved your father, but I want to assure you that the 60, 70 people that you're seeing as part of this Zoom meeting are only a fraction, because there are many people that I spoke to about this Zoom meeting. Some could not make it, maybe because of one or two personal or professional obligations. Some on the road, and some of maybe of the older age group had challenges working around Zoom. And so I want maybe today, as you go to rest, to be assured that this is just a multitude or just a fraction of the many people that your father touched. And I think I'd like to start off by saying that I am glad that I got a chance and that our paths with Johnny crossed. He was a gentleman that I met, and we grew a friendship that was so dear to me. And most of the things that have been said about Johnny's life, many have talked about his generosity, and everyone is talking about how he contributed to people through financial giving. But I think one of the things that surpasses generosity that is aligned to finances, is generosity of time. And Johnny gave himself to people. And I know when we live in this era of self, everyone is selfish. We are living in an era of selfies, of people thinking about themselves only, of how they're going to benefit themselves. Johnny was selfless. And I like what Ombima said about how he took time to cultivate friendships. And we've been friends with Johnny for, I think, half a decade. And when I heard of his news of his passing, I was truly, truly, truly heartbroken. And I do not want to even fathom the amount of sadness that his family is feeling. If this man that I knew for less than a decade, who impacted my life in a way where I was rendered stiff and immobile, and where my heart bled, I'm just imagining what his family was going through or is going through right now. And so I will not belabor the point of the sorrow of his death, but I choose maybe to focus on his goodness, his character, and what he embodied. And with Johnny, I think to me, he was first of all a friend. And we went on to do business together. And he also was a political mentor. And I think with my bite at Nairobi politics, just like Jagero spoke, and I think I love that everything that was said about Johnny was not something or a side that he only showed me. You know, as human beings, we have sides that we know. Maybe we show certain type of people, or you are this person in private, then you are this person in public. But the unilateral and unanimous things that have been said about Johnny, it seems that, and it proves that he lived a life that was so open, and he showed aside the generous, loving person that he was. He showed that to everyone. And I remember when Nyambega Gisesa, I'm seeing him with us here. Nyambega, thank you very much for taking your time to pen something in tribute to Johnny, immortalizing him, because writing and penning down that article for the nation, it means that forever and ever, through the years, thousands and years to come, people will read and search, and they will always come land on Johnny's article. And when you said that maybe we should communicate what we feel about Johnny and maybe give a tribute to him. And I think at that time when I was deeply hurting, and when I was really still in shock, I said that the only thing that we can do, something that Okango said when we were starting off this meeting, is conceive of ways of which we can embody his experience, like all our personal experiences with him, and making it last longer than his life, making it last longer than the 54 years. And when people are talking about planting trees, that is a noble idea that goes well into posterity. But also we could consider areas around starting a foundation that would continue touching lives just as Johnny has, and would continue responding to humanitarian causes just like Johnny did. And for me, I feel like maybe it is our duty as friends and family to continue his legacy, because I know for a fact, just like Ombima said, and everyone who's spoken before me, that Johnny will continue living in our hearts, and there's no way we can forget him. But I believe that we owe it to the future generation. And as much as the sun will go 1 billion years or even longer before another Johnny sets foot on this earth. Because for me, you know, I remember on Friday when I went to his grave, and I respected his religion, but I went to his grave and I was like, Johnny, you are gone, and I want to pay you my last respect. And when I found that maybe there was someone else whose rights were being, the last Islamic rights were being given, I was told to first stay away until they finish. And then I remembered Johnny was a lover. He didn't have any prejudice about religion. He didn't know you are a Christian. He didn't think you are a Muslim. You didn't think you were a Hindu. He was an all-loving man, and he embodied what true religion was. He loved everyone. And I believe that maybe what he did, he implanted what you can say, alitoa sadaka, and he has affected all of our lives in a way where we feel like it is our duty, it would be our duty to carry on his life, to carry on, and what Onchari said, even in our small communities and in our circles, anyone who would call you up and ask you that I'm stuck, can you help in this way? I don't think that there's anyone who would rise up and say that Johnny hesitated even for a minute to help anyone. And that is what true friendship is, and that is what we were created as human beings to do, to serve God and to serve humanity. And Fomba, I think I could go on and on about Johnny's life, but for me, what gives me consolation is that absence in body is presence in God. And I know for a fact that Johnny was God's man, and he's gone back to him. And as Abdisamad said, that hopefully we will meet again in future. And I believe for a fact that true spirits like Johnny's don't die. They live on forever, and his light will always shine through. And I pray that his soul rests in peace, and that maybe we might unite again and again for his memory. Thank you, Fomba.
Thank you very much, Agnes. Now, I would like to appreciate Charles Wafula for having given us this platform. I would like to invite Mohammed Hersi, I can see now he's back, so that he can make a few comments and give us a closing prayer in honor of Johnny. Thank you. Mohammed. Mohammed, are you there?
Sorry, I had not unmuted myself. Yes, I'm very much here. Yes, I had gone silent a little bit, and my apologies for that. I've just been listening to Angie and everyone, you know. I am in Mombasa. I may not be a Nairobian, but I related very closely with late Johnny. Johnny, I happen to come from the same clan with him. You know, in Somalis, we don't talk about tribe. We are one tribe. And people say, you guys are one tribe. You're one faith. Why do you always fight? And I was responding to someone tweeted the other day that tribe is even better. Clanism is the worst thing. And that's why today you see Somalia has never known peace for 40 plus years. It's a terrible thing. So Johnny and I come from the same clan, which is the clan you see around Kenya, which is spread in many small towns. And when you go to Bungoma, you will see the Hersi family, no relation, by the way, just the name. You go to Nyeri, you'll see another family. All these came from what we call the northern Somalia, which is the current Somaliland. It is the British Somalia. Somalia was divided into three. We had the French Somali, which is Djibouti. We had French, and then we had British Somali, which is Somaliland. And then we had Italian Somalia, which is the southern one, which is having a lot of issues currently. So our great-grandfathers came from what we call British Somalia, which is the current Somaliland, which has broken off, and Baba has recognized them. That's where we come from. So with Johnny and my great-grandfathers, you know, they all came in, eventually settled in Nairobi and many other smaller towns. So we don't come from Northeastern. Our clan has no base in Northeastern. When slots are shared in this country, they say Somalis have been sorted out, but we consider ourselves Somalis in the diaspora. We are spread in all little small towns. Nanyuki, you'll find us in Romoruti, you'll find us in Nyahururu, and Nemet. And Naivasha was one area many of us settled. Johnny was a very prominent person in the community and was very strong. When you guys talk about him here, helping non-Somalis, in fact, one of you said, this is a guy who optimizes, that Somali bit where people say they are generous in helping, but he went far beyond his own tribe to help. That's what he was. He will come to Mombasa and stay in my hotel. He will always call me and touch base on tourism. In fact, the last visit was around, 10 days ago when we were comparing notes, and he said, you know what, I want to come and settle and find something at the coast so that I can also have a place at the coast. And I told him, Karibu sana, my brother. So he has helped a lot of the community. We do get a lot of people with medical bills. One of the things that I shared even recently was how comes there was a Muslim, when he passes on, the body is quickly moved out, and you wonder what has happened to the hospital bill. Johnny was one of the people who will settle bills anonymous. And you just realize that bill has been settled. Little did you know that actually Johnny cleared that bill. So that's the kind of a person that we're talking about. And for us, in Islam, he has had his time, and all we can do is to pray for him, and that Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus, heavenly place wherever he is, and all these good deeds, whether you are Christian, non-Christian, the guy didn't know any tribe. This is a guy who could speak good Kikuyu, he could speak good Luo, and he could interact with everybody. When I look around here today, by the way, I'm seeing probably one or two Somalis, or even none. All the rest, man, you can see, this is Kenya for me, because this is what Johnny was. Johnny stood for Kenya, and that's what he was. It's very unfortunate that Johnny did not get the opportunity to serve as an elected member of parliament or any elected position. Johnny was what Robin Sharma will call the leader without a title. He did not wait for the title to be given to him to be. Johnny did it without being bestowed with that title. Today, we are having this virtual. It is now 10 o'clock. Some of your families, the kids have already slept. But here we are, celebrating the life of someone. Some of you may not even have met him in person, because some of you have actually said, you know what, I didn't know Johnny in person. But this is a man who created time for me if I was to meet him, if I call him, etc. So Fomba, Ndugu, thank you very much. I'll pass this to the rest of the community. They actually don't know that we have such a beautiful gathering. I had marked it in my diary that I must log in today, and listen. And I would love to be remembered like this as well, where tender member, unfortunately today where we are, Fomba Ndugu, there's a lot of selfishness in the country. We have a beautiful country, but unfortunately leadership is the biggest trouble we have, where people just think of amassing, and you just wonder, when you leave this earth, you go with nothing. Look at Johnny. One of you said he was left with just a mold of soil. We don't even waste cement on you. We don't even build anything for you. That's what life is all about. And I think many of you here are also leaders in your own ways. I think we need to reclaim our country in our own small ways, without fighting. So you can do a revolution which is in the mind to change people's minds. I know some of you here are leaders, and let's go back to, to basics. I think we were lacking on basics. That's why you see too much corruption. We are denying the common man a dignity, in this beautiful country. So there are a lot of things that we can do. So Fomba, I want to thank you. I know you've done a lot to try to change things, and I know you guys have a big agenda for Nairobi and Kenya that is beyond tribe. I'm also 54. All is not lost. I think we can do something for the generation that is going to come after us. Guys who are 15 years old, 20 years old. Today I was a discussion with someone. I was telling him, when I left Italy, I had 4 job opportunities. But I feel for the guys who are graduating today, they have nowhere to go to. There's nowhere to turn to. So there's so much despair in the air that I feel for it, and we need to do our part, and we need to help them what we can do for him. So I'd like to do a Fatiha, which is a prayer in Islam, which is a very powerful. Is the beginning of the Holy Quran. And I'd like to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayri maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. May Allah grant our departed brother Jannatul Firdaus, the highest level of Jannah, and for his remaining friends, continue to remember him, continue doing all the good deeds that he did, so that we can make Kenya and mankind a better place. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Mohammed.
Amen.
In fact, majority of the people who are here, or those ones who are in politics, Johnny was our gateway to Somalia and to Somalis in this city and the Muslims in general. If you wanted to get to Jamia networks, to get to other Muslim gatherings or groups, Johnny was our main connection. Is indeed irreplaceable, but you'll work so hard to continue being in touch with your community, work together, and we'll also, with you on board, we also like to mentor Abdisamad so that it becomes greater than Johnny. Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming, and may Johnny's soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Fwamba.
Thank you, Nsia.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fwamba.
Good night.
Thank you, Fwamba. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Kwamba zima mataa watu walale bwana.
Good night. Good night, Mswaki. Nakuona MC.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes.
Jeff Nyamboga, why are you writing?
Dr. Manyala, good night.
Good night, MC.
John Maina, good
Good
night.
night, Hamasi. Good night.
Asanteni sana.
Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Fwamba, and good night.
Good night.
Kwamba wakitoa lockdown nao watu wakutane bwana.
Sawa, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Gula iwas.
Gulai.
Wafungue nchi watu wakutane.
Good night. Yeah. Good night. Good night.
Governor Nsia, Sunday. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you, Governor.
Good night. Thanks.
Good
night. Good night, Kalistas.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, good night and bye. Good night, our little one.
Good night.
Nindo maber.
Peter, good night. Sawa Mbuna, good night. Enoch. Douglas, good night.
Good night, Governor.
Good night, bro. Okay, let's end there, Charles.